Hey there, welcome back to Finance Fridays. I'm your host, Lucas Bolahood, with Coldwell Banker RMR Real Estate and the Bolahood Group. I'm joined by my trusted colleague with RBC, Alexandra Jobb. How are things in your world today, Alex?
Hey, Luke. I'm doing pretty good. These 2 week windows go by fast. It feels like we record every week and it just flies, right?
It really does. It's this summer, the start of the year here is flown by like heck. We're almost halfway through May. It feels like, April showers bring May flowers. We got a sun
Right?
shining this week after a couple rainy weeks there too. So the spring is here, and it's good to see some sunshine out there too. Getting the kids outside, playing outdoors, and I'm gonna get to play
Absolutely.
some golf later this week too. So I'm
Nice.
excited about that. I haven't been out yet, so I'm looking forward to getting out, swinging the sticks, and get some sunshine.
Is the Coldwell tournament happening this year?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I'm pretty sure it's going to be in July again. I don't have the exact
Okay.
date on hand here, but
I'll have to get
yeah,
that in the
that was
calendar.
a fantastic event last year. We had fun last year at
Yeah.
that for the boys and girls clubs of in Durham Region, and I think Kawartha Lakes as well. Yeah, that was a great charity event, and so definitely looking forward to doing that again this year. It's always a good time. So
Mhm.
we'll have more information on that here later in the summer.
Awesome. Thanks.
Uh, yeah, but this week, Alex, I think I want to talk a little bit about what happened in April. We did see the stats come out from the Durham Region's Association of Realtors. I want to talk a little bit about what's going on in the market relative to the offer activity out there right now.
Good.
There's a very common pricing strategy around underpricing and holding offers,
Yeah.
and that can be, have some uh, its own challenges in and of itself, just given the approach that's used there and the competition it does create as a result of underpricing the property. From offer dates, we've had some discussion, even with amongst our clients as well, about deposits. Whether they're first-time buyers or not, there's some questions coming up about where the deposits can come from. How do you access that kind of money? Because the industry standard, for those who may not be familiar, is generally 5% of the purchase price is what you need for a deposit.
Right.
So if you think about the average price, which we're going to talk about in a minute, when you do the math on that, 5% of $956,000, which was our average price in Durham from April. That's a good $45,000 or so there, right? So it's
Yeah.
a lot of money. It's a lot of money, and you need to figure out where's that going to come from, because we need that or those funds in short order to put towards the as a deposit for the purchase. So
Exactly.
talk a little bit about that stuff today, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. So what's happened? And you've got the numbers up for your April.
I,
We're into May now. What
I
happened in April?
do. Yeah, we did see a nice positive increase in the positive change in the market. The average price increased 3.2% up to 956,000, as I said, from 926 in April. Since the calendar turned to 2023, the average sale price in Durham has increased almost 8%. We started the year out at an average of 866 or 886 by the end of January, anyways. So we've seen a steady increase in the average sale price in our region. Demand from buyers is certainly increased as well.
Mhm.
The number of sales month over month increased about 5%, and our days on market and our list to sale price ratios have increased as well. That to say that our homes are selling 2 days faster than they were in April or March, excuse me, and they're selling for 4% more than they were relative to the list price from March as well, up to 107% of the listed price. So activity is still pretty high. And it's probably gonna stay this way for the foreseeable future here, so long as rates, hold, or as they begin to come down by the end of this year, as we've sort of forecasted with our economists at RBC, in that prices will probably increase as rates go down, but our inventory levels are around 1 month. And we saw for a lot of 2021 and 22 inventory below that mark around 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
And that caused a lot of competition, right?
Yes.
And and now COVID was a part of this strategy being utilized, and that was the offer presentation date, which I just mentioned a minute ago there. That is one that has been very commonly used as a very popular trending pricing strategy right now amongst
And
sellers.
and that when they
So
say offer presentation date, they're holding off offers until such time, and then it can all come in at the same time, and then the seller can look at everything, right? And make their choice.
yeah, so generally, what happens in those cases, the home is doesn't I won't go through an example necessarily, but the home has been underpriced, so it looks like it's at a really appealing list price
Hmm.
for what it looked like you could obtain for that number. and it drives a lot of activity through the home. And a lot of buyers get a lot of good eyes on it, right? That's a lot of what our job is exposing the property to as many qualified buyers as possible.
Yeah.
Now, the operative word there is qualified, in that, we expect the property is going to sell. If it's listed at 599, maybe it's going to sell for 7 or 750, whatever the comps are in the area. But we're trying to drive as many people through, and then when that offer date comes, if they've got a direction to present offers on a particular day, then everyone comes to the table and they try and create some competition amongst those who do submit on that property to try and drive the price up,
So if a client is
right?
seeing a house online on Realtor.ca, which most clients do to kind of see what's out there. I mean, I know you have your selected drips and things that would go to clients, or you're sourcing, trying to find, what would be suitable for a client. But if they find that, I mean, it's so important for them to come to you and say, we like the look of this, but what do you think it's, really worth? Because it can be a little bit misleading when it's listed at X amount of dollars, and it's going to go, it's probably worth maybe 75, $100,000 more than what it's showing for, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. You do like looking, you want to work with a realtor who's got a pulse on the market, has an idea what's going on in those neighborhoods,
I
what the
like that.
relative activity is
Hmm.
for, for the home values in the area, what's
Hmm.
sold recently, and that kind of thing. So that price can be a little bit deceiving. It's meant to be a hook. Right, it's
Yeah.
trying to get you hooked in to think, oh, we got to try and take a run at this house. We need, if it's at a price we can work with, let's try see if the sellers will work with us. And that means, when you're in competition as a buyer, we talked about this actually in a previous recording about being a five-star buyer, and this is
Yes.
a big part. This is going to be related, certainly. But you need to come with a strong deposit, right? When you're
Yeah.
coming into those situations. And I always say to our clients who, when we're in competition, and this has happened very frequently the last number of weeks for us, is you have to have a sort of a walk away number. So, because you think of that fear of missing out or that buyer's remorse, you don't want to have a number where, or you don't want to go through the experience where you wish you had have offered a little bit more, or
Right.
you're afraid you're going to pay too much. You really want to have an informed, understand what's going on in the market, what's selling in the area, and what you're comfortable paying for that property. And if another offer comes in and it's higher than yours, because you are expected to put your best foot forward, that
Mhm.
being your best price forward on your initial offer, whether that's 95% of how far you want to go, or 99% of how far you're willing to go, or 75%. You should put your best foot forward. And if someone exceeds that number that you say is our walk away number, then they can have it, kind of thing. But at least like you put your best number forward, or your highest number forward that you can manage and are comfortable with. And if someone else takes it off your hands because they had they saw the value to be higher, at least you can
So,
know it's
yeah.
okay. I'm not going to lose sleep at night knowing that I didn't offer more money. I didn't think it was worth that, or I wasn't comfortable with the terms that they wanted to work with. So we weren't going to, we're not going to lose sleep over missing out on that property. That is sort of just the mindset it takes. You don't have that roller coaster of emotions thinking we have a chance, and maybe we should have done this or should have done that. It's to just, that's the big thought process, or that I
Okay.
try and set everybody
So
up for when you're in this competition situation.
for a client that's putting their best foot forward, let's say that their offer is accepted. Um, what is the expected turnaround for them to then deliver the deposit? Because I know you're talking about that significant amount, like 45, maybe $50,000. If you're in that higher price point of purchasing, just under $1 million, if that's the expectation, when is the client expected to deliver their bank draft? Within
Well,
24 hours?
before I jump into that, let's look at just take a step back for a minute. What is the deposit, right? The deposit is a portion of the purchase price, because this can sometimes get confused for the down payment,
Yes,
which is for your mortgage. But
people
the
switch those
deposit
words
is,
around. Yeah.
yeah, they are related, but they're not the same.
Right.
So, a deposit is a portion of the purchase price that's going to be essentially credited towards the overall purchase price at closing, due at closing, and those closing costs. That amount that is is the deposit can go towards your down payment that you're going to have, that the bank will need for
Take
the
that into
mortgage.
consideration. Yeah.
They'll essentially give you the difference of what that deposit is from the overall purchase price, and that's the mortgage amount. Now, back to your question about when does it get delivered? There's three options in how you can write this into the agreement of purchase and
Okay.
sale. The
Good to
most
know.
the most commonly known one is due upon acceptance, which essentially means within 24 hours of an accepted offer
Okay.
being executed. So that's option number one. Option two is herewith, which, is, in legal terms just means here is the check with my offer, right?
Okay.
And they're getting it right there. Essentially, you're just providing proof that you have the check in hand and you're going to give it to them with the offer,
Mhm.
in due time there. And then the third option is otherwise described in the agreement. You can really write that any way, in a whole
Okay.
bunch of different ways that you want, whether you need to pull funds from wherever you need so much time to get it. If
Mhm.
everybody agrees to the way that that's been written, that is also a valid way of providing the deposit. There might be a situation as you might use this, could be to provide a supplemental or a secondary deposit, maybe for something that's got a longer closing, or you've only got so much cash in the bank at home and
Yeah.
or at the bank in terms of personal funds, you need to go and pull some money out of investments for a second deposit later to increase it. That's something that can be done too. But the deposit is like an actual for the seller, because we're talking about it from the buyer's perspective. But from the seller's perspective, the deposit is like a security against you completing the purchase, or sort of preemptive, we'll call damages. If you don't complete the sale, they can
They're
essentially
holding them. Yeah.
retain those funds, and then it becomes a legal situation if one of the parties is in breach of contract at that point. Now, that's a legal situation you talk to your lawyer about.
Yes.
But that's essentially what that is for. So when you're talking about going to the offer presentation date, having a strong deposit in place and having, again, where we're going to find the funds to give a strong deposit is where we want to talk about next.
Yeah.
But that strong deposit is a reflection of your genuine commitment to purchase the property, because you're putting so many resources up front saying, I will close, and kind of thing. And it's in the seller's eyes is a positive reflection, on your interest and commitment level, to purchase the property.
So I know you wanted to talk about different sources of deposits and down payments. Of course, you're going to have your standard, your savings or investments. Keep in mind with some investments, you may have restrictions as to what you can and can't take out or have access to. For our first-time home buyers plan is first-time home buyers. It's very common to use RSPs, and you do have to sign a form for that withdrawal that you're buying the house. If for whatever reason at some point the transaction didn't go through, you can replenish that money into the RSP without being penalized for it. Knowing that, let's say you had a financing condition and you wanted to do a home inspection, you had your deposit funds withdrawn from the RSP to give your bank draft, and then the home inspection didn't go well. So you say, you know what, we're still within our condition period and we're not going to buy this house. We're going to move on. That can be replenished back into the RSP until you do find the home that you're looking for. So that's good to know. Then we have gifted funds if it's from an immediate family member. With that, when it comes to verifying that not at the time of deposit, but when we're doing our underwriting or adjudication process for gifted funds, we do need, I always call it a Mickey Mouse because it is a very simple form, a Mickey Mouse form, fill in the blanks, who's receiving the gift, who is the giver, signatures on both, and the amount, the property that you're purchasing. And we either need that stamped by the donor's financial institution to verify that yes, they have the funds available, or provide investment or savings statements to back that money up so that it can be verified. And you also have the option for deposit and down payment funds for unsecured line of credit or secured line of credit. Your unsecured line of credits are usually, I don't see them exceed 50,000 at most. That's usually what it is. They're typically 10, 20,000, just so you're not overextending yourself on a vehicle like that. And they come with a higher interest rate. So if you do have a home that you can leverage the equity to, then we would look at something like a secured line of credit or a HELOC, home equity line of credit, HELOC. That's where we come up with that HELOC. A lot of people are like, what is that? So if you have the equity in your home, with RBC, if you had a conventional mortgage, we could simply put you into, as long as you're qualified for it, put you into a home line product where you would have access to the equity there. You would only be paying interest on the funds that are drawn for. So it may just be like a 60-day period where you've got interest only payments. The interest rate has significantly increased because it is based on prime. So prime plus
Mhm.
0.5, you'd be sitting at 7.2%. Well, when you're looking at an interest only payment, is sort of the cost of doing business. And a lot of clients do utilize that product for deposit funds so that it's readily available. It's instant. I mean, you can go on your online banking, transfer it to your account, get that bank draft made and deliver it, right? So if
Mhm.
you have a home that you can leverage, that's a great, great option.
Now, are there rules around when you can apply and open a HELOC type
Yes,
of
so
a
we
line of
want
credit?
to do it before your house is listed. We won't be refinancing a property when it's listed on the market for sale, just probably due to some risks that the bank would be leveraging the product. You know, we don't know, is the home going to be sold before the registration actually takes place? So I think that that's the reason why they want to avoid that timing. Before the house is on the market, you want to have something like that set up in place. So speak to your mortgage specialist or your bank and look at those options. That's one of those pre-planning steps. If
Yeah,
not,
if you're thinking
I
about
mean,
making
if
a
you
move.
have savings or have gifted funds that, maybe a family member knows you've got lots of equity in your home. So they say, here's the money that you can borrow when you do your deposit. When your house goes through, you can pay us back, depending on, everyone's situation's unique. But that's definitely something that you want to put in place because it legally has to be registered against your property. You don't have to see a lawyer. We can use First Canadian Title as long as there's no change in title. You can do the documents with me directly, but it does take a little bit of time to process.
Yeah, and that's important talking about that overall plan, right?
Yeah,
A lot of times people want to buy a home first before they sell theirs. Depending on the market conditions, it may be appropriate to sell the home first before making the purchase, so you know what your budget is when you're
right.
going for that sale. Again, based on the equity that you're going to earn from turning the house over or from selling the house. But as you say, the home can't be up for sale when you apply for that HELOC. You need to do that in advance
Yeah,
of going out because again, you want to have those funds for the purchase, but you can't do it if the home's already for sale.
right.
So that's an important thing to understand what the steps are when looking to get that line of credit on your home.
And also want to note that that secured line of credit, when the property is sold, it is then discharged, obviously. So it's not something, if you're setting up a product like that on the next purchase, that's one thing, but that line of credit would then be, would be paid out and closed when the sale goes through.
Awesome, awesome. Well, that's yeah. I mean, we've gone through quite a bit of information here with respect to what's going on with offer presentations, and we are seeing like double-digit offers. So this is something that people need to understand. You're thinking, oh, I want to go shopping for a home, but there's an offer date here. Well, how quick do I need this money by? And
Yeah,
shoot, where am I going to get it from? I've only got X amount of dollars in the bank or whatnot. So what are our options if we got to figure this out? So both A, have a plan so you're not in a rush, and B, there are options out there that aren't just your own personal funds. You gotta, save up for so long. But
right.
that's fantastic. So, anything else happening in your world coming up here, Alex, or are you
We've
just
got,
basking in the
just
sun? What's
Mother's
going on?
Day. Mother's Day this
Oh
weekend. So
yeah,
my mom,
that's right.
mother-in-law, my grandma, and I get a little bit of, time off myself. I guess it's my day too. So looking forward to that. And then
Well,
we've got a
do you
long
get
weekend.
breakfast in bed, or what's the routine at your
I
house?
hope so. I do. I usually get like strawberries and whipped cream and breakfast in bed and coffee. Love it.
Now, do you get to eat any of it, or are there just
Little
overworked
hands in
birds
there.
pecking
Yeah,
everything
it's
off your
okay.
plate?
It's so cute. And like homemade gifts. I love homemade gifts. And I know the kids have already got a few things started. So we'll see. It was just their writing on paper is so sweet, right? So I'm
Oh
looking
yeah, and the things
forward
they think of right now they're working on it. It's awesome.
to that. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Yeah, we've got some stuff going on Mother's Day, obviously. I've got some photos to deliver this week after our Mother's Day
Oh,
photo shoot there a couple weeks ago. So we've got those all printed and ready to go for those of our clients that came out to join us for that on April 22nd, I think it was. The weeks go by quick, I tell you.
yeah.
But that's great. Well, you have a wonderful Mother's Day
Thank
weekend,
you
and to
very
all the
much.
moms out there. You are the glue that keeps us all going, keeps us together, and certainly I couldn't do it without my wife and all the amazing stuff she does, and for our kids, and I'm sure your husband feels the same way about you.
Think so.
But anyway, so all those moms out there, happy Mother's Day. Have a wonderful Sunday, and we'll be with everybody again soon. Thanks so
Thanks,
much
Lou.
for watching, and you'll see our contact at the end of this video here. And until next time, bye for now.